CTV News at 6 starts right now.
Well, coming up, March 21st, the day to end racial discrimination. It is the United Nations International Day to End Racial Discrimination.
Shining a light on racism, the main goal today, but there are also some tangible solutions to make things better. The United Way East Ontario Director of Capacity Building, Abid joins us now. Abid, this is a big topic. How do you end racism, shining a light on racism? But you also point out there are little things, micro things that people can do to make things better. Can you give us some examples?
That's correct. Yeah. So the issue, as you mentioned, is huge, and we have been working on this for the past 5 years. And I was thinking about writing something for this particular day, and then I came up with a solution to undermine the work that we have been doing for the past 5 years. And that, in a way, like if you look into our big strategy that how to address this problem, there's a long list of those strategies that we have on unitedforall.ca. But in the end, it just boils down to an individual, to ourselves, right? That what can we do? So all those big strategies like education and awareness and changing behavior and all those kinds of things just begins with an individual. So at the very personal level, what we can do is we can play a very effective role by becoming very conscious of our individual and societal racial biases. And then our own implicit bias, which is critical. And the more we know about that, the better we perform in our community level efforts or national level efforts. But then that also begins with addressing the problem of our lack of understanding about this particular issue, right? So it all begins with ourselves, getting a better understanding of the discrimination and bringing some positive changes, right? And to be open to learning and unlearning the things that we have learned over the years, intentionally and unintentionally, and then listening to the experiences of racialized people. And then that's going to give us a very good perspective on what we can do, where our blind spots are, and how can we address that. And that's what I tried to summarize.
Yes, no, that's great. You've also pointed out that when we talk about unlearning things, are you finding that more people are accepting the tradition of racism in the country? The fact that do you find fewer people challenging that notion that there is a base of racism throughout society?
Yeah, you're right. So what we are seeing is like kind of a polarization in the community. So on the one hand, the bad news is that like the inequity grows, like there is substantial evidence, solid tangible data and anecdotal evidence that the disparity grows in the community and the discrimination grows with that. But on the other hand, there is a huge pushback from the community. Despite all those harsh realities, right? So there are people joining the coalitions, like the coalition that United Way East Ontario has put together that has more than 140 organizations. So on the one hand, like for instance, Ottawa is the city which is number 1 or number 2 nationwide in terms of the police reported hate crimes, right? So that's the bad news. But the good news is that we have the largest coalition in the country where we have all different types of religious organizations and human rights organizations, and you just name it, right? And all those different individuals and leadership at different levels. So they've come together, and so then you see the openness on that end. So it's kind of a stage where we can say that it's a very polarized age. And the more we work on ourselves and begin, like, again, the charity begins at home, right? So the more we work on ourselves and understanding our prejudices, the more we'll be able to make a huge difference collectively and individually.
We appreciate your time, Abid. Thanks so much.
No worries. Thank you so much.
All right. That is Abid with the United Way. Well, coming up, Ottawa is known for tulips.